Spurs lose a tough one tonight. Bill Schoening about to speak with Spurs assistant coach Matt Nielsen as the Utah Jazz beat the Spurs 110-104. We'll listen in.
Joined by Matt Nielsen, assistant coach for the Spurs. And Matt, thanks. First of all, thanks for joining us. Just your thoughts overall on tonight's performance by your team.
It's Mitch, just so you know, Bill, just so it doesn't throw you off. But tonight,
thanks, Mitch. I didn't know. I was told Matt. Sorry.
No worries. Utah's a really good team. Obviously,
Mitch
we just
Johnson.
played them not too long ago. A veteran team, a lot of continuity, a lot of guys back from last year. And they're just a very solid team. We need 48 minutes to beat a team like that. I think we had a couple just kind of hiccups.
Hello, Lucinda. How are you tonight?
In the first quarter, where we kind of spotted them.
Tough loss for the Spurs tonight.
Like that, the points, it's really hard to kind of fight your way out of the hole and then try to pull it out at the end. So kind of dug ourselves in the hole early, and I think our guys showed a lot of fight as we've done a lot of times this year. But they're a really good team and can't afford to do that against a team like that.
And the three-point line becomes more important against a team.
Spurs'
like
three-game winning streak is over. They've won 3 out of 4, including tonight's loss. Hello, Jason Salinas.
Right side down there in the paint, and they like to funnel out a lot of things to the rim and let those guys just be a deterrent. And I think in the first half we had a couple times where we hesitated or maybe turned a few down, and it wasn't quite as opportunistic as we thought, and there was some tough mid-range twos. And so, I think in the second half we did a much better job of trying to shoot those threes and be ready to shoot. And, you may not be wide open, but
Falin from Singapore, welcome. Leland Bruce, Frank Ramirez.
They are the leading rebounding team in the league, and always when you go up against the Jazz, I know one of the things you want to do is not commit fouls, but also be as physical as you can, because they've got some guys that can really bang inside. Obviously, Gobert is the best in the league.
Yeah, for sure. I was a little disappointed. I thought early on, a few really early possessions, we did a great job being physical, and we got fouls called on us. And I don't know if that took away some of our aggressiveness or guys didn't want to get fouled, so we're getting the bonus, but I thought that hurt. And then on the other end, obviously we didn't get to the free throw line as well. So that's a big swing there when they get to the free throw line and you don't as well as they shoot them. So we just, got to kind of continue to get better and learn from it.
Okay, Mitch, thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it, and good luck against Miami on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is Mitch Johnson, assistant coach for the Spurs, and not Matt Nielsen. I guess we'll hear from Matt on Wednesday after the game against the Heat. Utah 110, San Antonio 104. First Mark Credit Union. That is the player spotlight. And let's look at Derek White's numbers tonight. We mentioned Derek a little bit earlier. 8 of 16 from the field, 3 of 6 beyond the arc for Derek White tonight, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. He had 8 assists after he had a career-high 10 assists last night. He also had 3 steals in this ball game, and he led the Spurs with 21 points this evening. Our player spotlight brought to you by First Mark Credit Union. And BMW of San Antonio brings you the ultimate performance. And Devin Vassell had a pretty solid game off the bench for the Spurs. He played 29
Welcome, Doris. Steve Duraco. Steve Duraco from Birmingham, Alabama.
For the Spurs,
Falin from Singapore,
but the Jazz with the win tonight,
which is further away from San Antonio. Singapore or Alabama?
In a moment.
At In-N-Out, our hamburgers are made with the highest quality ingredients.
Steve Duraco, Lucinda Sullivan says it's past your bedtime.
And made to order just for you.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers,
Brian Birdie,
every smartphone. Why? Because
a tremendous Spurs fan. Good point. He says we scared their starters back into the game.
Face the button on your left, Anna. Okay,
Sandra Perez, welcome. Doris, welcome.
Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan.
Yeah, I mean, even Sandra, you're right. You have some bad nights. They've mainly been good nights. Spurs now, even with the loss tonight, they've won 3 of the last 4, 4 of the last 6, and 10 of the last 16. So they're 10-6 over the last 16 games. So, yeah, that you want to win tonight. You should have, but Utah's a really good team, and you beat them in Utah about a week ago. Falin says, "Go Spurs, go!" from Singapore. Welcome in.
First line of defense against airborne allergens, bacteria, and viruses.
You wash your hands to protect your health. Now you can clean your nose with Navage. Online at Navage.com. Navage. Clean nose. Healthy life.
Game changer brought to you by Frost.
More Bill Schoening here in postgame.
To open up a 13-point lead in the second quarter, and they led throughout the rest of the game. The Spurs never caught up after that. At that point, they led 48-35, and that 9-0 run actually turned into an 11-0 run. So they opened up a 15-point lead at that point, and the Jazz with the win over the Spurs tonight. Game changer brought to you by Frost Bank. All right, we promised you individual scoring. Let's do that. First of all, for the visitors from Utah, they had several players with very solid performances. The former Wagner High star, Jordan Clarkson, led the way with 23 points.
Vamos, Spurs, vamos.
5 assists. Also off the bench, Hassan Whiteside, 13 points and 8 boards. And while we're on the bench players, Rudy Gay, the former Spur, 2 of 5 from the field. In 19 minutes, he had 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Among the starters, it was a balanced attack, 19 points for Bogdan Bogdanovic, 7 of 16 from the field, 1 of 7 beyond the arc, but he finishes with 19 points. 17 points for Joe Ingles, who hit 4 threes tonight. Mike Conley was 5 of 15 from the field. He finished with 12 points, 6 assists, and 2 rebounds. Only 3 points for Royce O'Neal. He was 1 for 4 from the field. And Rudy Gobert with a double-double, 16 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks for Gobert. Adds up to 110 for the Jazz. The Spurs had 104. And let's look at the Spurs numbers. 21 for Derek White, 8 of 16 from the field. 17 for Doug McDermott, who had 3 threes tonight. 13 for Keldon Johnson on 5 of 13 shooting. He had 7 rebounds. 10 points, 13 boards for Jakob Poeltl. Also
There you go, Jeff.
In this ball game tonight. And 2 points for Keita Bates-Diop, who was just 1 for 4. Off the bench, Devin Vassell had 13 points and 6 boards. Lonnie Walker with 11 points, 4 boards, and 3 assists. Trey Jones only took 1 shot. He had 2 points and 2 assists. John
Oh, no, Sandra.
3 of 8 from the field.
Hang in there. I hope you'll be okay.
7 points and a couple of rebounds. Actually, he had, let's see here.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's getting COVID these days. This is, this variant is so contagious.
Played just under 6 minutes, went 0 for 3 from the field. Josh Primo played 4 minutes and did not take a shot. Other scores for the Spurs, Devontae Cacok had 4 points, and also Joe Wieskamp had a bucket. It adds up to 110 to 104. The advantage for the Utah Jazz would win over the San Antonio Spurs. And Whataburger, what's next? The Miami Heat will be here to conclude a 3-game homestand for the Spurs. And that game will tip off at 7:30.
Steve Duraco knows him. We all went to high school. I saw tonight Michael Morales, Grammy Award-winning rocker, had to cancel his New Year's Eve party and concert because he came down with COVID, even though he's fully vaccinated and got the booster shot. So, yeah, I mean, DeJounte Murray, lots of people.
San Antonio Spurs, and again, next up for the Spurs, the Miami Heat on Wednesday night. This is Spurs Radio.
Yeah, I need to see if I'm next. Check with Michael.
South Texas Renal Care Group. We treat kidney patients.
Am I next?
Diabetics. San Antonio has
Veronica, welcome in.
Population that has diabetes. There's a lot
Veronica's a big Spurs fan.
Failure doctors. Savage Bank has eyes and ears in the community.
Yeah, there you go, Veronica. Yeah, Brian Birdie said that earlier. We scared their starters back into the game. Okay, I do a segment here coming up. Yeah, trial by fire. He'll learn. Yeah.
I think this is just ridiculous. Yes, you're beating a team that literally has a 4th-string quarterback. Where you're going, and like 30 players have them.
Not only 4th string, has never played in the NFL.
Exclusive offers. Exactly.
Okay, this is a crucial moment in the audiobook. The big escape.
Chapter 9. They had waited long enough when finally the clock stopped.
There you go, Veronica. Double for Jakob. There's a silver lining. Yeah, I do a quick segment here in post game.
Debit cards, you can get great rates, bonus points, and cashback rewards with no annual fee
Ofa Lin joining us from Singapore, if you're just tuning in. Steve Duraco, the original Rock, the original Italian Stallion, joining us from Birmingham, Alabama. Here we go. From the Spurs Net Center, I'm Chris Duel. Final score from the AT&T Center. The Utah Jazz beat the San Antonio Spurs 110-104. Programming note on the flagship station, Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI, and streaming live video on 1200 WOAI's Facebook page and Twitter page. Our Spurs React with Michael Bartlett and myself coming at you in just a few moments. But first, let's update you on scores in the NBA. Scores in progress. Suns trail the Grizzlies. 4:06 to go in the fourth quarter at Phoenix. Grizzlies 98, Suns 95. End of one quarter at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Brooklyn 38, the LA Clippers 33. In Portland, wow, 2 minutes before halftime, double-digit Mavericks lead over the Blazers 62-58. Everything else final. Timberwolves beat the Celtics 108-103. Hornets over the Rockets 123-99. Bulls 130. Hawks 118. Once again, Spurs React coming at you on the flagship station, Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI. After a quick wrap-up from Bill Schoening at the AT&T Center, where the Utah Jazz beat the San Antonio Spurs tonight, 110-104. Spurs Radio continues in a moment. All right, Sergio Lozano, welcome in. Yeah, Sergio, we needed to hit some three-point shots, especially early. Yeah, now, Jamie says, dang, we need to get back to winning. Yes, however, they had a 3-game win streak coming into this. They had won 4 out of 5 coming into this, and they had won 10 out of 15 coming into this. So, yeah, I'm with you. Disappointing loss, but, you know, hopefully they come back and beat Miami on Wednesday night. So even with the loss right now, I mentioned this earlier for those of you just getting in here, even with the loss tonight, Spurs have won 3 of their last 4, 4 of their last 6, and 10 of their last 16. So, yeah, Sergio says time to start a new streak. Totally agree. Let's see.
Customers get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it.
Threes are not part of the game. We needed to attack this team. I would say they're part of the game now in the modern NBA. But I hear you. I know Pop doesn't like threes, but he reluctantly realizes you got to shoot them. Welcome, Rayson. Good to see you, Rayson. Here we come.
The Spurs is Mike Kickerillo. Leah Resendez handles commercial traffic along with Liz Canonis. Our broadcast engineer, Sam Walters. Our statistician, Walter Stoops. Next game for the Spurs coming up on Wednesday night against the Miami Heat. That'll be a 7:30 tip. We will be on the air at 7 o'clock with Spurs Radio Game Night from here at the AT&T Center. As always, for all things Spurs, follow us on Twitter, Spurs.com, or the Spurs app.
Up in the air because he hasn't given me anything yet. He hasn't even started. So.
And thank you for joining us this evening.
I'll check with you. Wave me off if you can. I'm thinking 7 no matter what.
110-104. This has been a presentation of Spurs Sports and Entertainment and the National Basketball Association. All rights reserved. Good night, everybody.
Spurs Radio Game Night.
Frank, I like that comment. Glass half full.
To 20.
Oops, we live at 20.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Frank, glass half full. Let's get a Blazers loss to the Mavericks at 70-51. Mavericks by 19 late second quarter. So, yeah. And you're not going to win all the games. And again, you've won 10 of the last 16. Back when the NFL had a 16-game season, you go 10-6. That's pretty good. That'll get you to the playoffs. So, but yeah, need to get right back to winning. I totally agree with that. Let's do that against Miami. on Wednesday night.
Today, we're known as First Smart Credit Union, evolving not only in
Totally agree, Veronica. Late in the game, the three lesser.
Don't worry about me because he literally hasn't started yet. So don't worry about me. So just all you. That way
Okay.
You can get in and out.
Okay, might go a little shorter then.
Okay.
I'll take Veronica's call. Veronica, I see you there. We'll take your call.
This is Game Night React on the home of the Spurs.
I believe all Spurs are vaccinated. So to answer your question, yes. Here we go. From the Spurs Net Center, I'm Chris Duel. Final score tonight from the AT&T Center. The Utah Jazz defeat the San Antonio Spurs 110-104. This is Spurs React on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI. I'm Chris Duel along with Michael Bartlett, who makes the entire broadcast go from beginning to end. Tough loss tonight for the San Antonio Spurs. You never want to lose. However, I will point out Spurs are still playing some very, very good basketball, and they fought till the end. They made the Utah Jazz and head coach Quinn Snyder put his starters back in the game when the Spurs were fighting hard until the end after the Jazz thought the game was in the bag. They weren't so sure the way some of the Spurs reserves were playing at the end. Nonetheless, Spurs lose at home to the Utah Jazz 110-104. Don't forget, Spurs beat the Jazz in Utah just about a week ago. So this was a Jazz team looking for payback. So even with the loss tonight, the Spurs have still won 3 of their last 4 games. They've still won 4 of their last 6 games, and they have won 10 of their last 16 games, even with the loss. So the key is get right back on it. Spurs will be in action again on Wednesday night here at the AT&T Center against the Miami Heat. So hopefully the Spurs return to their winning ways against a pretty good Miami Heat team on Wednesday night. Phone number 210-737-1200 in San Antonio. If you're outside San Antonio, there's an 800 number. We still pay for the call, 800-383-WOAI. By the way, we are, as always, streaming live video on 1200 WOAI's Facebook page and Twitter page. So no matter where you are on the Spurs radio network, you can join us. I notice Ofa Lin joining us from Singapore tonight, although it's probably daytime in Singapore as we speak. And lifelong Spurs fan. In fact, he was at the Hemisphere Arena when the Spurs first came to town in 1973. I know this because I was sitting next to him. Steve Duraco joining us from Birmingham, Alabama. Steve Duraco, been a Spurs fan since they came to town in 1973. Let's go to the phone lines, 210-737-1200. Utah Jazz beat the San Antonio Spurs 110-104. She's a huge Spurs fan. Her name is Veronica. Veronica, you're on Spurs React on 1200 WOAI. Welcome, Veronica.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Michael. I think the Spurs played all the way to the end. Unfortunately, in the first, throughout most of the game, a lot of their shots didn't fall. But I think it's telling that the Jazz never got more than about 14 points, 15, maybe 16 a couple times. But it was pretty steady, 14 points ahead. And then when we put in the reserves, mostly the G League guys that came up, we cut that down to 6. So, I think losing by 6 in the last few minutes when we were playing our reserves, who did very well, especially Devontae and Joe. And I just think it was a really good game. I think the ones that were the sparks tonight were the triple Ds, Derek, Devontae, and Doug. That's my take. And can't wait till Wednesday when we beat the Jazz with Derek Edmond. And have a great night. Go por vida.
Go Spurs, go. Veronica, we love your phone calls. And as you illustrate, and we've seen this throughout the season, the Spurs did not quit. They played all 4 quarters. And I know some of you might say, hey, there are no moral victories, and I get it. And the Spurs don't believe in moral victories, I'm sure. But this young Spurs team is starting to find ways to win. And as I mentioned, they've won 3 of 4, 4 of 6, and 10 out of 16. This one did not go their way tonight, but we'll see if they bounce back against the Miami Heat on Wednesday night. I have a feeling they will. Utah Jazz beat the Spurs 110-104. Let's grab Jose's phone call. Jose, you're on Spurs React on 1200 WOAI. Welcome, Jose.
Hi there. First, I want to say, go Spurs, go. And they're going to do great. Hey, a win is a win, and they're on their way to the top, right?
Well, yeah, although tonight they lost, but thanks for the phone call, Jose. All right. Once again, the final score tonight, the Utah Jazz beat the San Antonio Spurs 110-104. We will reconvene, and we will do this again on Wednesday night. We'll see if the Spurs can bounce back based on the last 16 games. I believe there's a good chance they can bounce back, and I expect them to Wednesday night against a very good Miami Heat team. Again, as always, that game will tip off just after 7:30 at the AT&T Center Wednesday night. That means the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening, will have pregame, our Spurs radio game night, at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. For Bill Schoening, another spectacular job. Oh, by the way, on Wednesday, Bill will be on my show on Ticket 760 and AM 1300 The Zone out of Austin at 8:05 Wednesday morning to talk Spurs. We talk a lot of Spurs on my show, 6 to 9 a.m., Ticket 760 AM 1300 The Zone, the Chris Duel show. We'll do that tomorrow morning as well. For Bill Schoening, for veteran statistician Walter Stoops, for on-site engineer Sam Walters, all doing a spectacular job as always, along with Michael Bartlett. He is the Mr. Rogers of Sports Talk Radio. The kids love him. It's always a beautiful day in his neighborhood, especially when the Spurs win. When the Spurs don't win, Michael Bartlett is mean as a snake. So that's why you're probably lucky he wasn't on the show tonight. Michael Bartlett will be on Wednesday night on Spurs React when the Spurs are triumphant over the Miami Heat. For all of those fine gentlemen, I'm Chris Duel. Once again, the final score, the Utah Jazz defeat the San Antonio Spurs 110-104. You've been listening to Spurs React on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI. Yeah, Christopher, that last caller, wasn't making a lot of sense, but that happens. It's radio. I get it. Expect the unexpected. Aloha, Rayson. Rayson joining us from Hawaii. Aloha, aloha, aloha. All right, y'all. Tomorrow, 6 a.m., bright and early, join me, join Jeremy Kolak. Shannon Salty Sweeney is on vacation till next Monday. We'll talk a lot of Spurs. We'll talk NBA. We'll talk Cowboys. We'll talk NFL. We'll talk college bowl games. Derek Fox, the president and CEO of the Valero Alamo Bowl, going to be on the show tomorrow at 8:35. Taylor Estes of Horns 24/7 going to be on the show at 8:05. We're on from 6 to 9 on Ticket 760 in San Antonio, AM 1300 The Zone in Austin. All right, y'all. Christian, you have the last word on the screen. It's okay. On to the next game. Go Spurs, go. Hey, amen, Christian Picardo. All right, y'all. I am out of here. We will see you mañana. Go Spurs, go. Por vida, and in Pop we trust. Have a safe night.